Talent's been taken away. Jinx still remains. We're still also looking at champions like Jhin there as well after 2 AD bans.
Yeah, so things that jump right away, like we said, the Jinx being the standout now that Caitlyn is banned. You can try and match it with something like an Aphelios we saw a lot of in Demacia Cup and try and play ranger's range. You can pick up something like the Jhin, which you just hit on, and play away from that lane and be more of a utility set up for later on. I expect OMG to lock this one in. Now I'm curious for TT, do they go towards something like the Xin Zhao, which is what we've seen be a very high priority in terms of jungle role so far? And if they're going to do that, I feel like you probably do just lock in your AD carry here. Again, match with the... Ooh, gonna go straight towards the Thresh, though. I mean, heck, in Demacia Cup, Thresh's first pick, almost every game Hysterics, almost every blind pick had Thresh versus Thresh, which is really cool because I love the new Glacial Augment, but maybe it was too much.
Maybe, but I want to come back because your jungle pick, you've nailed this on the head. We talked about this, things like Engage, like the Thresh Leona look. That Thresh has been locked in. Now Cole looking at one of his favorites that we mentioned from 2021 summer. The meta's still hitting that nail that was Demacia Cup, even though we're in 12.1. So for OMG, looking like a comp they ran last year, the comp that can get in your face and let Abel have some space.
Yeah, I think OMG are going to be decently happy with certain facets of this meta. I'm really curious to see how Abel's going to do not on a champion like Samira, Kai'Sa, Kalista, these champions that do just want to go in and get in your face. But again, this will be his time to shine. Aphelios is what we hit on earlier. I think especially with the Thresh pickup, it's what you would expect rather than something like the Jhin. Jinx will still outrange him later on, so it can be quite annoying and quite rough, other than, you know, when you do have the Calibrum. But so far, I feel like we're going to get a lot of action, right? We have kind of double engaged support jungles on both sides.
And we've got jungle and AD carry support, as you mentioned, on both sides picked, which means we're looking towards those solo lanes, Lyric. And we didn't talk too much about solo lanes. We were very focused on the bottom side. The draft has shown you were so damn right about where we're going to start the LPL off. What about the rest here? What do you kind of perceive that is going to be priority, especially for that mid lane when we do have Creme we talked about versus Captain?
I'm actually really curious because I feel like both soul lanes in terms of meta are super open to whatever you want to play. I think we've been seeing a lot of Vex in solo queue. She doesn't have too many, I think, terribly unplayable mashups. Does really kind of struggle into longer range artillery mages, but that's about it. You still have things like the TF being a super high priority, right? Because TF doesn't really have anything that completely shuts him out. You'll always be able to use that Destiny to find impact on the map. True. And I'd say the other thing is potentially a Victor pick. Wow. I think for TT, I would like something that does bring a bit more map impact early on, so along the lines of the Vex or TF would be pretty cool. And then it'll be up to OMG to go for the counter.
Just seeing a Rumble ban here as well, against a Camille too. We've got a couple of interesting picks that have been banned away. Now for TT, one of those solo lanes that we mentioned. Going in a direction of, well, let's hold for a second.
Please, please.
I know you want it. I know you want it, but at the end of the day, is it just been a lot of this Heimerdinger that's been coming through because of Arcane? I don't know, man. But Vex is something as well. We talked about a new champion to the Rift. Hey, there we go. Vex in competitive play. The perfect way to start game one.
Yeah, I just love seeing this champion. Again, everyone is spamming it right now. It doesn't feel like you have any laning phases that are atrociously bad. Syndra is a pick that does do pretty well into it. Sure, Vex technically outranges just from her Q, but almost anything else Vex needs to do, you're always going to be in threat of Scout of the Week. So I like the pick coming out from Creme. Also does give him a lot of onus for the initiative that we were talking about that he's been so good at bringing to the side of OMG. Now for Shanji, looking at top lane picks, going with the Rumble ban, I kind of expected that potentially was a target ban at Shanji, which is pretty funny. And now if they do end up locking in the Graves, you have a pretty flexible, safe in the 1v1 top laner who also will deal a huge amount of damage later on.
Ooh,
so we get the Gwen.
Okay, so Gwen means that you don't know where you're going up against that top lane. For New, we talked about his champion pool on both OMG when he was there last year, going up against his old organization, by the way. Even before an RNG, he's a kind of supportive player. Renekton, the Wukong there as well. This would be a different direction where he wants to try and match Shanji and put him on the paper.
Yeah, so he is wanting to go into that counter matchup.
Okay.
And pretty interesting on both sides, right? Both teams feel very indexed into similar composition.
Yeah.
I think Vex is an incredibly strong mid-game champion. Your laning phase, I think pretty decent. Not overwhelming to where you're going to just dunk on everyone and get 15 CS ahead, but you're not really losing against anyone. Pretty good clear potential. It's all about those mid-game skirmishes where you're able to move first with your ultimate, maybe make a play down towards that bot lane. You have a lot of AoE damage coming out across all of your abilities. You have things like the Fear coming out, so you bring CC as well. So we're going to be looking a lot of kind of mid-jungle skirmishing coming out from the side of TT. I think especially going towards side lanes and being there first, having that tempo, to where for the side of OMG, you'd kind of want those 2v2s to happen in mid lane, where Syndra does bring a bit more with that Scatter the Weak.
Well, let's see, because Creme's been the focus for OMG about that mid lane, and for Captain going down to the new condition with Puff and SouthWind. Ladies and gentlemen, the LPL begins. 2022, you know, it's got to be a good year. We just won Worlds. It was the 3rd trophy. I was damn proud. Like, I may have cried in Game 5. I was up at 4 a.m. I screamed. I woke people up, but it was worth it. As we come back to the Rift, and we start with OMG and TT, kind of that feeling lingering that we're back in the league, the best league in the world. And that'll be the only thing I say until we get to MSI. TT going to be starting on the bottom side here, Lyric, and you already talked about it before. Looking for Captain to roam to the bottom lane. I like that, because Puff and SouthWind, Aphelios, Thresh, we know, can be a strong 2v2.
Yeah, and again, this 2v2 could be influenced very easily. Both junglers can be starting on the bottom halves of the map, making their way up towards the top side. Top lane is a pretty, I'd say, what would be the word? Frail? I feel like frail's not exactly the best word, but frail matchup can flip in either. High variance matchup, Hysterics. Okay. If you can get one of these top laners ahead early on, they will be taking over. Pretty cool that Shanji. Ooh.
Okay, just a bit of a dredge line. That's okay. We end there. Cole's just going to back away. I noticed on a side note.
Just a bit of a dredge line. That was a solid like 150 damage.
Okay, all right. You're just excited to be back here, aren't you? Now, Demacia Cup was nothing for you. This is the real place. As Cole able to try to get level 2 in the bottom lane. Hey, I want to come back because Puff has taken press the attack on Aphelios. Now, lethal tempo is pretty bonkers at the moment, and yes, it's been nerfed a little bit, but let me just tell you, that's one of the first times I've seen in recent history a PTA on an 80 carry like Aphelios.
Yeah, in solo queue, you typically have options. I've actually seen all Cole getting
matter.
Creme low.
PTA's worth it. It doesn't matter. Ignite's there and it's first blood. For the LPL 2022 over to SouthWind. He's looking for a hook. He's got flash as well. Abel won't burn any summoners, but that's a big move from TT's bottom lane as OMG want to respond top.
Yeah, OMG have a wave stack. Shanji's looking for it. Winning out in the trade so far. Creme even has push in mid. So they don't have to worry about Captain potentially roaming up to stop this play, but Frigid's here, so I don't know how much they could exactly get done. Maybe they could try and zone New off, but I think that'd be the extent of it.
Shanji's done some really good damage. Gonna take a turret shot though, but level 4 now picked up. Frigid spotted. He's only level 3 himself, but they'll just clear the wave. Backing away is Aki and Shanji. It's good to see early action on the Rift. Look at even Cold roaming around. Lyric, he's level 2, and Cold up there just in case.
Yeah, Cold just realizing, hey, we just lost this bot lane 2v2. The wave was pushed in a really awkward position to where he can't soak experience. He's not going to do anything down in bot lane because Abel is dead. Just go up towards top just in case a play breaks out to reinforce that one. This will lead to OMG being able to get 2 scuttles. But I still think the advantage that Puff and SouthWind were able to pick up is pretty nice. We look at CS right now, about 10 ahead, and they are actually even in terms of where the wave's at. So we were hitting on, you know, potential reminiscence of 2019 Vici. Puff and SouthWind giving it to us, maybe?
Really good start. You know, you mentioned the CS lead, the longsword there as well. It's going to be even for Abel and Puff, but we'll see what it's like when Frigid comes down. The Xin Zhao trying to be active here as the wave in a pretty decent spot to push against. Abel and Cold are playing on a knife's edge at this point. Frigid's going to try and make his way in, but they're just backing away. They're paying the respect here, Lyric, as they continue to push it.
We also need to remember that Abel does have both of his summoners available, so theoretically should be able to get away from any play that TT made. Cold, though, might be in some trouble.
Well, waiting for the flay to come through, but he hits a trap. SouthWind with the 3-man play, flashes away, gets a death sentence. The reposition nets a kill with the 2-man grabbed him. Puff is just going to force them away. Abel still getting the rocket, the zap a bit wide. And careful, because Frigid can re-engage as Aki's there. Puff is healed up. Gravitum connects the flag and drag to save his life. And OMG on the back burner with a 2-kill lead over to TT.
Yeah, so unfortunate for Puff that the flag and drag did come out. Aki did a flash, but had you been able to at least get that summoner would have been massive. Still, though, another kill in the bot lane for the side of Puff and SouthWind. The flash away, the death sentence, super nice coming out from their side. We were hitting on OMG are the team who have kept a lot the same. Had a phenomenal season last time around, but TT coming into this early game strong. And I think it's only going to get better once we hit those level 6 marks. As we're going to see what happened, SouthWind walking forward, cold, knowing this play's coming, does throw out the Q. Here's where the flash away comes into the death sentence, which just allows for Puff and Frigid to finish off this kill. Sadly, not able to find another one.
But still, pretty big here for TT. You know, the bottom lane off to a flying start you talked about. I want to pull up, though, that for OMG, it feels like this game is going to rest a lot on the solo lanes, though, Lyric. The Gwen up by about 10, 15 CS. Creme, you can see, up 10 in this lane where you talked about the Syndra wanting the jungler to come mid, having priority here. It's been a pretty good start here for OMG solo lanes, the people that we've been talking up as players that are pretty hyped up.
Yeah, and I feel like we're going to keep seeing a similar dynamic where if you're TT, you just keep looking at getting prio and getting like access to the river through bot, getting vision through that way, moving up with SouthWind to where for OMGs where they should start looking to do actually what they're doing now. Shanji moving over to mid. Ooh.
Ooh, good flash away. Scat of the Week was going to catch him out without an ulti as well, and Creme has already used the ulti himself. SouthWind's now made the roam, the first dragon there. There's a death sentence, and the ulti comes through, the Shadow Surge. Perfect from Captain. Vex with another, it's Reset City, and doom and gloom time as the resets get close. Captain nailing it down. Third kill here for TT.
TT just have complete control over the bottom side. Puff even soon going to pick up a turret plate. They should be able to zone Abel off here. Cold is making his way back down to lane. But everything just going right for the side of OMG so far. I mean, the gank mid was good, right? You got Frigid's flash. Unfortunate start walking through bot side river. SouthWind waiting, lands that death sentence. But now for OMG, you can't really look top. I think, once again, you're just trying to bring Jarvan mid and move Syndra up towards the side lane rather than, you know, anything the other way around. I think bot lane in too rough of a spot right now. Cold and Abel might do it.
Cold, he's already got 3 deaths, Lyric. I don't want to see a 4th. Chain Chomper's down, but it's Severin with Crescendo, and he's got the ulti available. Puff getting out of there, trying to stay alive, but Aki out of mana, able to finish it off. Cold survives, folks, as well. That's got to give him props here, as he's had a bit of a rough start to the game, and OMG finally bringing blood to their bottom lane AD.
Puff was feeling himself. He was level 6. He had ulti, Cold, only level 4, thinking they have enough burst that even if Aki is there, they'll just be able to kill him fast enough to where then they will be able to disengage off the play. Sadly, not able to. Puff even utilizing his flash, but nothing to come from it. We do see pings finally coming down towards Rift, though. And hey, with the fact that OMG just got those kills bot, they're going to have first move.
They are. Frame here. Almost ult available again. Remember, he still has his flash too. Captain's Shadow Surge, that ulti that goes cross map. That'll be up again soon as well. So Aki making the move. Shanji already starting it off. And look at this. OMG just knows that TT are going to swap sides.
Yeah, so TT just realizing, hey, we don't want to contest them on top side. They're first on that play already. We've been strong bot. Instead, going to go for the trade, take the dragon. And for OMG, they're just going to commit their bot lane up towards top side. They don't want to keep competing in that 2v2 where they've been losing out. And I mean, hey, you have Jinx in the top side, so even if theoretically they would lose on push, I think they're fine, especially with the fact that they have Herald. And now you're getting to a point where both of your hyper carries are pretty much being allowed to scale for free with the amount of gold they're going to be getting from this play.
And how does that change? Because we talked a lot about OMG wanting to get mid ahead. They wanted Creme to have access to Aki and laners. Hang on. Shanji down in the bottom lane. He thinks he can 1v3. Maybe he's right. Gwen's ulti. A lot of pins and needles there for SouthWind, but he shakes it out, looking for his next engage. Frigid with a couple of shots as Super Mega Death Rocket. That was angled for Frigid. He'll back away and OMG get first turret blood, and Shanji's play actually looks like a resounding success.
Yeah, Shanji knowing he can fend them off by so much time. OMG get first turret. They're going to get another charge off. They might even be able to take this one down. New playing on a knife's edge, not too scared. Knows he has Frigid heading down.
Okay, but the Counter-Strike hits as they go through. Doesn't matter. Ulti's there. Abel just knocks him down, and Arky says, thank you very much. A second turret. Lyric, forget the early game. OMG are in the gold lead now.
Yeah, that was not it from New. I mean, on the minimap, Frigid had just gotten a base, but clearly too early.
He watched Shanji, dude. He watched that Gwen, and he's like, okay, I could do it too.
Yeah, he wanted... Everyone's going to want the highlight reel in the first day, right? I feel like that's what sets the precedent for the split going forward. But we now have a 2-0 Jinx, Kraken Slayer as well. I guess Mythics are done on both sides. We're going to see the Gale Force coming out from the Aphelios. Like I said, I feel like OMG's comp will have the range advantage later on. Things like the Thread of the Scout of the Week on top of having the Jinx are going to be something that TT will have to worry about. You do have a lot of all-in coming from both your Vex and your Xin Zhao. Some burst to hope that you could potentially take the skirmish off that, but I feel like OMG are sitting in a pretty decent spot with the lead they just found.
When they really shouldn't be, right? With the 0-3 Nautilus in the early game, with how successful it was for TT, through the 2v2, through the influence jungle attention that Frigid was giving, OMG just been given ways back into this game, and now there's a bounty on Powder in the bottom lane. I mean, Abel's in a comfortable position, equaling gold in a lane that he really shouldn't be. So Lyric here for OMG, the comeback's there, and moving forward with the next couple of objectives. I want you to walk me through what changes now with these early mythics, with the early access to damage, because again, you talked about the similarities of these two compositions, but different ways in how they interact.
Yeah, I feel like the dynamic changes now that the map is open for the side of OMG. You can already see that Shanji was hovering down towards mid, which opens up safety for Aki to, you know, go down towards bot side because Syndra already has cover, potentially look for plays there. Looks like New has been kind of safe to just hold the wave top. It is slow pushing. So it looks like TT are saying, hey, we're fine. We're just going to keep letting our Jack scale, while OMG are trying to use the fact that Shanji can move to get vision control bot side. Sadly, though, has not panned out for them.
Cool. This is continuing to play out on the top side, though, as you're going through. Letting New scale is one thing, but Shanji's still a little bit scary with the Leeching Lair, now the Ninja Tabi too. No completed item for New up in that top lane, and as we continue to track items, just note that there's Gore Drinker on Arky on this J4, and he has a bit of a lead within the jungle. Yeah, Abel's not getting it, sorry. I love the smite in front of him, just to let him know. They're looking for a play around that bottom side too, but they're going to be spotted out for a ward. So it is just jungle clearing for now, waiting for that next objective.
Yeah, Creme, though, trying to get some damage on a mid, has to be careful. Frigid is close by. And both teams just kind of playing ping pong right now for control over River. But TT just doing such a good job. Right now, the enemy putting so much respect on Puff's name. Puff has continuously kept that bot lane pushed out as well, so he is constantly moving first. Shanji on the opposite side. So I feel like OMG are doing a really nice job of what they need to do to try to find their way back in towards the bot lane. And for TT, they feel fine just continuously reinforcing Aphelios. Honestly, Hysterics, I feel like this is going to be the game for the next 50 seconds until Dragon comes up. But we will get a fight. There will be no cross-mapping. Both teams will contest.
Okay. Well, teleports are both up and available as well. It's almost 14 minutes. We talked about the teleport changes, folks. In 30 seconds time when the dragon comes up, that unleashed teleport becomes normal teleport. So we will see some of these fights brew out, and TT Lyric will have a TP advantage with captains just about to resume.
Yeah, and I wonder if Captain will go for a reset. You would assume he is sitting on a little bit of gold. Dragon coming up in 20 seconds. Right now, TT having complete vision control of bot side. Heck, even Puff going to be hitting bot lane first, so they will be able to maintain that control. So OMG are going to be the team forced to walk in. Again, I don't actually think it's a massive disparity other than the fact that the pick potential coming from both Vex and Xin Zhao.
Well, that pick potential we talked about. I'm excited to see another ultimate come through. Captain picked it up before, as we've hit the 14-minute mark and Dragon spawning. OMG have regained vision around this river, and it was something that TT had laid out perfectly. But OMG have done their due diligence. They start the second Dragon here, as Creme just plays zone control, and it looks like TT are going to be late to the party. This Dragon is kaput. It's going to be one apiece as we go. Is that a Chemtech rift? It is. We do have a smelly Dragon Lyric to start off game one.
Yeah, so, you know, I feel like people are going to be feeling a lot of extreme emotions one way or the other, probably very hard, towards negativity, anger, resentment whatever other words we have to construe negative emotions. But, you know, ultimately, TT got absolutely nothing from what they just did, right? They got back out on the map first. Puff pushed in bot lane first. Captain had pushed mid. They hovered around like they wanted to contest rather than, you know, potentially maybe allocating their lanes differently and just playing for vision and topside. And it led to a world where OMG not only got Dragon, but also still haven't lost control of their topside jungle, right? Didn't lose out on a top lane turret. So ultimately, I feel like TT a little bit behind in terms of what they wanted to decide to do.
That's right. After what was a successful early game, they got knocked back once, and TT struggled to regain some of that control. And even though there's a 30 CS lead from the 80 carries, sorry, excuse me, 20, mid still ahead, top side keeping up, jungle in the lead, and OMG once again the first on this objective. It's a 3 versus 3 lyric with Captain on the way, but Dredgeline as it hits wide will send them back towards the forest. I wonder if TT are going to continue for this because Captain's now here.
Yeah, TT's still posturing like they want to fight, but also not walking up to contest. They will be able to push and maybe get an auto or two off on mid, but it seems like TT are going into full all-in on new mode. Ult comes out.
Puff just by himself, cold running across. It was a dangerous moment, but double summon is still available. And while 3 is spotted mid lyric, New's finally going to get this turret, get some gold to himself too. That's 300 in the bank for the Divine Thunder of Jackson. It does feel like OMG's condition that you talked about before, with the Jax getting resources, getting time in the side lane, is coming true as the game continues to stagnate.
Yeah, TT now swapping over to playing out through all 3 lanes. Seems like they're just all in on the win con that they know will be Jax later on in the game, playing into that Jinx Aphelios dynamic that we hit on earlier. Even Syndra, I think, making it quite annoying for both Aphelios and Vex to play mid-game skirmishes. So TT are going to just continuously opt to look for the cross map, though. I don't know how much they're going to be able to get out of it if they aren't going to give more vision over to New and allow him to push more aggressively into the enemy side of the map.
Because they were playing with really great vision earlier on in the game, right? So expect TT to continue that up as New continues to go to the bottom side. Creme's teleporting in now as well. And we don't have another dragon for 2 minutes in, but there is a Herald that is in play from Arky and a mid lane turret lyric that needs to go down so the map can be opened up for OMG.
Yeah, TT kind of anticipating this in response, already having 3 members mid and keeping Captain in the wings. Looks like they are going to go for the play. Potential engage can come out, but no wave on either side. So I think TT should be fine. This is going to do a lot of damage, but it shouldn't take the tower.
Yeah, getting close and don't want to go now that New is here with an item and a half. Jax, the Vex on the wing as well. I love how Captain's been playing this game. He's been roaming around and making sure he's playing the angles lyric. And that's why we kind of wanted to see Vex, right? The Shadow Surge, the ability to go from such a far distance as there it is, Shadow Surge in, and it's Gloom time! Right on top of Captain in the back line. Creme you can see as well, but a great ulti from Frigid. OMG, 3 members getting pummeled here as New's joining the fight for Frigid in a bit of trouble. OMG barreling up the mid lane. It's an unleashed power kind of morning. Abel's not able to hit Captain, and I got excited for the Vex, but TT got absolutely slaughtered.
Yeah, Shanji going in straight to the back line. Looks like he just deleted Puff. I agree with you. The play from Captain looks so flashy. He got the fear off onto Creme. It just didn't mean too much when other members of OMG were in position to capitalize onto TT's weakness. This is the dynamic that we've been talking about, right? How whether it's the range advantage coming in, the ability to position for these team fights, OMG's comp definitely favored. Looks like it starts off with Cold hitting the hook, chained into Aki with a nice knock-up, and then Shanji just being there to provide the damage. Creme did not get bursted out by Captain's engage, so he is still in the fight. Aki holds on to the ultimate, so he's then able to lock down more members of TT with the Gwen there, putting out so much damage. And just really nice combo coming out from OMG. Again, Cold started it off. He found the hook onto Puff, which pretty much led to OMG decisively taking the win.
I get so excited seeing the new ulti, and then you don't realize it comes apart at the seams, right? Abel not even touching that last fight lyric, and this is a 2-item Jinx who's doing about as much as Creme at this point. I wonder how TT can approach the dragon, because OMG, this will be the first chem tech if they can pick it up. TT have reset and they're on the map.
Captain TPing towards the bottom lane, so TT want to take this.
New
off to a flank angle, probably their only hope.
Okay, TP's going to make 5. A 5v5 in the river. Dragon getting hit down. Arky needs to get the smite down, but Frigid's a level down. There's the ulti from Puff, but Dredgeline depth charge into the backline is secured by the J4, but for TT, they're split apart. Puff by himself trying to take out Abel, and he will with the Severum Crescendum. Now it's up to Shanji here, who helps get cleaned up, and rather Creme doing the job there. Captain's on the way out because once again, TT have been obliterated.
Yeah, TT so far showing a strong early game, but not able to keep it up throughout the game. OMG completely wiping them, gonna turn this into a Baron. And OMG can just keep doing what they've been doing, right? Playing for the 5v5 setup, not really enabling or giving into their side lane pressure. And I honestly just can't wait to get a replay from that fight, because we had a fight on 2 sides, right? We saw Cold, Shanji going one direction, Abel there as well, trying to all in on Puff, but the other members of TT pretty much single-handedly being taken down by people like Creme on the opposite side.
All right, Lyric, here's your replay. Walk me through it, because there's a lot going on, a lot of different angles, and OMG just don't seem to die.
Yeah, OMG having like a steady, nice position together in the middle of the fight. It does take 3 members going on to Puff to take him down. He does find a kill on Abel in return, but Creme waiting the whole time is able to land an easy scout of the week. Doesn't seem like New was expecting him to be there, and it just ended up being cleaned up by the members of OMG. Once again, Cold starting it off with that hook. And yeah, TT now I think are getting hard for options, Hysterics.
What are you going to say, dude? TT or what? TT or what this game?
TT are... TT might be 5,000 gold behind. This just means they have an incredible underdog story waiting to be written. New right now, taking some turrets. Look at that. There is an objective bounty on that turret. That's more money. Now have New keep pushing, have your other 4 members hold. Let's hope and pray that a dive doesn't come out from Cold and Aki like it looks like it will. Oh, it will. Hysterics, it will.
Flashing over the wall. He's got Frigid. That Crescent Guard's not going to do too much, even with the ulti coming through from Puff. They're in a defensive maneuver, and OMG actually a bit too far forward, but the dredge line, the depth charge from Cold was gorgeous as Shanji stepping up on the rift. Welcome to the LPL, sir. As OMG with this Baron buff, they tell New, you better go home.
Yeah, New having to go for the recall. I think the play he made was correct. You have to go for the turrets on the opposite side. You don't win in these fights, but OMG now should just be able to end.
Well, with the Baron buff, it doesn't look too hard at this point. New gets scattered the weak, and as the last Nexus turret goes down, OMG open their split with a banging win over TT in game number 1.
And just massive credit to Shanji in this game, right? OMG falling a little bit behind early on. The game started to swing when we saw the swap come out topside, right? OMG go for the Herald. They commit their bot lane to top. Shanji just goes, you know what? I'm feeling like a Chad today. Goes down to the bot lane, pulls off the 1v3. They don't get turret. And suddenly OMG are just catapulting so far ahead in this game. Definitely feels like he had a pivotal role. Cold, again, was hitting the skill shots when needed. And OMG, once hit the mid game, still looking as coordinated as they were before.
Yeah, and in a game that was TT favored, right? The early game was a 2k gold lead. OMG were behind in the bottom lane pretty severely. Cold was 0-3. And then off the back of one play, OMG had a lot more options. Their decision-making was cleaner. The mid game was easier for them. And I think we're going to give props to OMG who, you know, in that game, you feel like they should have lost it, Lyric. You feel like Dragon Control should have been TT's. But it's just these small, slim moves that from people like Creme we expected. From Shanji, who's been hyped up. I think also from, you know, from the bottom lane of OMG for playing it cool. No pun intended.
Yeah, even just coming out from draft, hitting on things like how the Syndra Jinx interact with the Vex and the Aphelios, I feel like started to slim TT's options once the game did get onto a more neutral foot. Sure, you can play around that Aphelios pressure early on, but once the gold swung back to even, they realized very quickly, hey, we just kind of need to all in on this Jax pick. We really can't go toe-to-toe with them. But sadly, OMG just didn't give them any options. Once they got the Baron especially, right, forcing those plays down in bot, doesn't matter if New's getting some turrets on the opposite side, they were able to come out ahead. Now it's like, hey, we look at damage numbers, we look at the graphs, Creme stepping up, Shanji having a big game as expected. And I think if you're an OMG fan, this game 1 should just excite you. Sure, the early game, as we see in the gold graph, was a bit TT favored, but the fact that Shanji comes in, has a solid game 1, and the rest of the squad still looks the same, I think is very promising.
It really is, and part of the hype that people have put towards OMG, I think giving props to Arky as well, who maintain a bit of a lead in the jungle too, is worthy. Lyric, I want to say that for our first game as well, you know, we got some spicy early game action. We got the Vex pick as well. It's just unfortunate that it didn't come together for TT when, you know, Captain did have a couple of decent ultis. But, you know, Puff, the big AD carry, always focused, always targeted down. A very hard game for him to play when it's all about protecting him. And there's so much threat to him at that point in the first game.
Yeah, and now we're going to see how, like, they pivot or what changes, right? Again,
True.
First day on new competitive season, new patch, seeing how teams' priorities progress throughout the series. We saw things like the Vex Blind coming out. Again, it looks solid for most part of the early game, despite the fact it is in a slightly disadvantageous matchup. Seeing things like the Jax come out on top side. For TT, this split's going to be a lot about finding an identity. And I feel like that's what we're going to be seeing going into game 2. Do they want to keep this, hey, we're going to go hyper carry, we're going to play towards the bot side style going on? Or do you try and pivot somewhere else, see if like playing around mid more works, see if giving new resources can work out?
Yeah, it feels like, you know, the couple of options that we talked about there, new being the late game, what's the word I'm looking for? The late game insurance policy. It could have been something that TT leaned more towards, but for a team that is still trying to put the pieces together, a team that is rather starting the split, putting the pieces together, was a bit of a roughie. But game number 2 is on the way. We'll see if they can turn it around in this best of 3 as we go to a short break and return with OMG TT game 2.